Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and happy Thanksgiving to those who celebrate. I hope that you will enjoy watching this video. The first eyeshadow that I'm going in with is called Cupcake by makeupbyan. It's a very soft pink rosy eyeshadow shade and I'm going to use this as my transition shade. So whenever I create an eye look, I always make sure to go in first with a shade which is slightly darker than my skin tone. I knew I was going for a rose gold shade, so that's why I'm going for a rosy shade. But normally I go in with a light brown shade which is slightly darker than my skin color. Now I'm going to use a black eyeshadow by Melt Cosmetics. Normally I use a eyeshadow from makeupbyan like Corrupt or Anastasia Beverly Hills Noir eyeshadow. But the makeupbyan one has a lot of fallout, so that's why I decided to use this one instead. So I'm going to use this shade to create my crease. As you can see, this is not where my natural crease starts, but that doesn't matter. I'm just going to create a line where I want it to be. And I'm using a very tiny brush by Morphe. I don't know the name. I've used this brush so many times that the name has faded away. But I think this is their tiniest brush since it's so freaking tiny. And today I'm going to do a round cut crease, as you can see, because I want to create a sort of... Now I'm going to use Bitten eyeshadow by makeupbyan, which is a very gorgeous shade. I love it when people use this shade on their eyes. For me, when I wear a shade like this on a daily basis, it kind of looks like I have cried or something, so I'm not sure how to work with this shade. But every time I see someone wearing this, I think it looks amazing. So I'm going to use this all over the crease line that I created to blend out that black eyeshadow, to make it look less harsh and just to blend it out. Now I'm using Cupcake eyeshadow again, and I'm going just over the shade that I applied before to make sure that it's well blended out and that there are no harsh lines. I'm using a brush from the brand Certify. You will be seeing me using more of these brushes, which are very bling bling. I know the owner of this brand and she's so kind. She sent me a few of her brushes and they're amazing. I'll link them down in the description bar. Now I'm going to use Smoke eyeshadow by Anastasia Beverly Hills, which is also quite dark. And I felt like I have blended out my crease line a little bit too much, so I'm going straight over the line with this Smoke eyeshadow. I'm using a very tiny blending brush from Dose of Colors. I really like Dose of Colors brushes. They have a kit and this is by far my favorite, especially for cut creases. So now again I'm going back in with the Bitten eyeshadow by makeupbyan. And I'm using a Certify blending brush and I'm going to blend this kind of along the crease line, and I'm blending it on top of the line but also a little bit higher towards my brow to get a really smoky effect. Now I'm using some concealer, and I like to use the MAC Pro Longwear concealer for this step because it's a very quick dry concealer which comes in handy to also use as a primer for the eyelid. So I'm going to apply this all over the eyelid and I'm going to carve out my crease by going straight underneath that line to clean it up, and it will make it look really clean and neat. I'm using the concealer in the lightest shade. Now I'm going to use this pretty shade which is by makeupbyan. It's called Curtain Call. I'm not sure if I have ever used this shade before, but it's so pretty. And I'm going to apply this on my eyelid. I'm using a MAC 242 brush and I made it a little bit wet to get the most pigment as possible. And I'm going to press this at the inner part and also at my outer V. And I will keep the inner part of my crease on my eyelid empty because I'm going for a halo look, so I want to pop a very light shade in the middle. And as you can see, I'm also using a very tiny brush. This one is from a brush kit from Vanity Planet. I just felt like that MAC 242 brush was too big, so that's why I'm using this tinier brush. Just use whatever brush you find easy for this. So now for the middle of my eyelid, I'm going to use this shade Nostalgic. I'm not sure how to pronounce this. It's a very light pinky shade. And I'm going to press this in the middle part where I haven't applied product yet. And if you want more of a metallic finish, then I suggest to make your brush wet by using some MAC Fix Plus spray or just a primer spray, or just make your brush wet with some water, and this will give you more pigments and a more prettier metallic finish. Now for my eyeliner, I'm using the Modus Cosmetics Little Black Dress Liner. This used to be my favorite eyeliner, but I ran out of product, and ever since I haven't got my hands on this eyeliner anymore. But now I finally have it, and it's so freaking amazing. I don't know. I feel like every gel eyeliner is quite the same, but this one, I don't know, I find it really easy to work with. And some eyeliners dry out quicker than others. Let me know, what is your favorite gel eyeliner? Let me know in the comments. I like the Sigma one, the Modus one, and I also like the Maybelline one, which is very affordable, and I feel like that one stays very creamy, which I really like. Now for my waterline, I'm going to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dark Side Waterproof Pencil. Some people suggested me to use a Chanel pencil for the waterline. Someone said it stays in place perfectly, so I really need to get my hands on that one, but it's quite expensive, so I will first try to make this one empty. Now I'm going back in with the Melt Cosmetics Dark Matter eyeshadow, and I'm going to press this right underneath my lower lash line, also slightly on top of the waterline, because I really want that black eyeshadow to connect with the black in my waterline. If you have contacts, I wouldn't suggest to do this, but I don't wear them, so it's kind of safe. Now I'm going to use the Makeup Geek Raspberry eyeshadow, and I'm going to softly press this right underneath the black eyeshadow. So right now I'm using a Sigma E21 brush. It kind of reminds me of the Morphe brush, the tiny one that I used at the beginning, but this one is slightly darker. This one is slightly bigger, and I really like to use this for underneath the lower lash line. So as you can see, I'm pressing and softly blending back and forth with this brush. So now I'm going back in with the Cupcake eyeshadow by Makeup Geek. I'm going to use this shade to blend out the raspberry shade into the black eyeshadow. Just like I'm always going back in with a light shade in my crease, I also do this underneath the lower lash line. So now I'm going to the face, and I use the MAC Studio Fix foundation and a concealer from Maybelline. I skipped this part because this video is already quite long. So after I applied it, I set my foundation with a powder, and I used the Studio Fix powder, which is a really high coverage. Now to bronze my skin, I'm going to use the MAC Mineralized powder in the shade Medium Deep. I'm currently loving this shade. I also like to use the Give Me Sun powder by MAC, but that one is slightly more on the orange side, and this one is more neutral. So if you want a more neutral kind of bronzer, this one is really nice, and it blends really nice on the skin. Again, I'm using a brush from Certify. I'm not sure, they don't have names, but I like to use this one for the bronzer. Now to darken up my contour, I'm going in with those two brown shades from the Tarte contour palette. And as you can see, it makes my cheekbones slightly darker. But I don't know, I really like the combination of the MAC Mineralized powder together with this contour kit. I did notice that when I'm in daylight, it looks quite intense, but I don't know, I'm really digging that bronzy look lately. So now for my blush, I'm going to use the MAC Peaches blush, which is my current favorite. I think it's so pretty, I think it will suit everyone, and yes, I have been using this non-stop the last couple of days. If you're searching for a blush that you can rock with everything, I think this is the one. So now for my highlight, I'm going to use the Ofra Rodeo Drive highlighter, which is so freaking pretty. I'm a huge fan of the So Hollywood highlighter by Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I think this is a very nice alternative since the other one is limited edition. So I applied it above my lips, a little bit on my nose, and of course on my cheekbones. And as you can see, it's really pretty. I'm using a brush by Sigma, and I made it wet to make my contour even more intense. And I went in with a fluffier brush to add just another layer. Now for my lip liner, I'm going to use the MAC Current Lip Liner, which is a very dark browny purple lip liner shade. I'm not sure what the shade is, but it's dark and I like to use it whenever I go in with a brown shade on the lips, especially when I know the shade is really dark. And I feel like whenever you use a liquid, it's not necessary to use lip liner, but it's always nice to use as a guideline. So I'm going in with Tootsie liquid lipstick by Colored Rain. It's very dark. When I looked at this tutorial while I'm editing right now, I really felt like this look will also look really nice with lighter lips. I don't know, I think you can rock it with a bold dark lip, but also with a neutral soft pinky lip or anything like that. Now to set my whole face, I'm going to use the Smashbox primer water, and just to make sure that the powder soaks into my skin, because I used a lot of powder. Yes, this is already the end of the tutorial. I really hope that you enjoy watching. If you haven't done your makeup yet for Thanksgiving, maybe this will give you some inspiration. And yes, don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already. I almost have 200,000 subscribers, so exciting. And of course, I hope to see you in my next video. Bye guys!